Welcome to you, son of a witch. This week, we're undertaking a wizarding probe into two wild tales plucked straight from the world of flash fiction.
Oh, yeah?
So get ready for sons of witches, fantastical creatures,
Mm.
and the kind of thrilling adventures you'd expect from epic fantasy films.
Right.
You shared some truly captivating flash fiction stories with us,
Yeah,
and we've extracted the most intriguing threads for our wizarding probe today.
absolutely. These flash fiction stories, though brief, offer incredibly rich ground for exploration.
Yeah.
It's fascinating how much these writers manage to evoke in such a short space.
Our first tale, Transmutation's Curse, throws us into a modern-day science lab with a shocking twist.
Okay.
Imagine a teenager, Ethan, whose chemistry class takes a disastrous turn when he develops the uncontrollable ability to transmute elements.
Oh, wow.
The sources you provided paint a vivid picture of this terrifying and isolating experience. We'll explore how this sudden curse manifests, starting with a drop of acid in a lab table turning to gold and the immediate chaos it unleashes in Ethan's life.
What immediately grabs you about Transmutation's Curse is the juxtaposition of the utterly ordinary setting, a high school chemistry lab,
Right.
with something completely outside the realm of normal experience.
Yeah.
That sudden break in reality is what makes the premise so compelling, and it makes you think about how unprepared we are for the truly impossible.
It really does. And the catalyst itself is so simple, isn't it? A drop of acid. It's almost absurd how something so mundane can trigger something so extraordinary.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty of this wizarding probe.
Yeah.
That first instance of transmutation, the steel lab table turning to gold,
Right.
it immediately sets off sheer panic, doesn't it?
Sure.
Ethan is instantly isolated.
That visual of cold, hard steel suddenly becoming a precious metal is so striking.
Right.
It's an immediate signifier that the natural order has been upended.
Yeah.
And you're right, the reaction of those around him is pure primal fear. There's no framework for understanding or dealing with something like this. So isolation becomes the default response.
And it escalates so quickly.
Yeah.
It's not just the lab table. Soon, it's wood, then glass, which bizarrely shatters into diamonds before also becoming gold.
Oh, wow.
It highlights the utterly uncontrolled nature of this ability. Ethan isn't wielding a power, he's being overwhelmed by it.
That progression really emphasizes the loss of control.
Yeah.
It's not a neat targeted ability, it's a wild spreading phenomenon.
Right.
The detail about the glass turning to diamonds is particularly interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It suggests the transmutation isn't a straightforward shift from one stable element to another.
Right.
There are volatile intermediary stages further underscoring the danger.
Then Mr. Beckett steps in, and his reaction isn't just fear.
Right.
There's recognition there.
Yeah.
The reveal about a family history with this same transmutation curse suddenly expands the scope of the story. It's not just a random accident. There's a history, a lineage to this bizarre phenomenon.
Beckett's reaction provides crucial context.
Yeah.
It hints that this isn't some unique modern occurrence, but something ancient and perhaps even hereditary.
Okay.
The weathered book and the mention of a hidden workshop suggest a legacy of dealing with this curse, a possibility of forgotten knowledge that might hold the key to a cure.
Right.
It adds a layer of mystery and hope amidst the terror.
And through all this, you really feel Ethan's internal struggle. It's not just about the physical changes. He genuinely feels like he's becoming a monster. As this golden touch spreads and people recoil in horror,
Yeah.
the emotional and physical transformations are so tightly linked.
That's a classic element in stories about gaining extraordinary abilities.
Yeah.
The fear of the other, both from within oneself and from the outside world.
Right.
Ethan's feeling of being monstrous speaks to that primal fear of being different and the potential for such differences to alienate us from others.
The impact on his life is immediate and devastating. His own mother's horrified reaction, the world shrinking away in fear, and those sensational newspaper headlines, Midas Monster. It's a really vivid portrayal of instant pariah status. Even law enforcement is helpless,
Oh, wow.
which really emphasizes how beyond the pale this situation is.
The inability of conventional authorities to intervene underscores the truly unnatural nature of Ethan's curse.
Right.
Their usual methods are rendered completely irrelevant, highlighting just how far outside the boundaries of everyday reality this event has pushed him.
So he embarks on this desperate quest for the alchemist's workshop, guided by those coordinates in Beckett's journal. It's a journey driven by pure desperation, not by any heroic ambition. He's not trying to save anyone but himself.
Exactly. The journey is fraught with peril, not just from his own uncontrollable power, but from a society gripped by fear and misunderstanding. understanding.
Yeah.
He's become a fugitive, hunted, and alone, which amplifies the sense of urgency and vulnerability.
And the description of the workshop itself really evokes this sense of a long-lost, perhaps even dangerous magical practice. It's a ruin overgrown with vines, shattered equipment, faded symbols. It paints a picture of forgotten knowledge and power.
The imagery of decay and abandonment suggests that the secrets Ethan seeks are not easily found and might even be dangerous to unearth. The faded glyphs hint at a complex, perhaps ritualistic system of magic or alchemy,
Yeah.
one that has fallen into disuse.
Then comes the discovery of the alchemical circle, and the grim realization from the journal that the catalyst for reversing the transmutation might be his own blood.
Oh.
That's a pretty dark twist, forcing him to potentially harm himself to break the curse.
It introduces a significant element of sacrifice and risk.
Right.
The idea that the cure lies within the afflicted individual adds a layer of poetic irony, but it also raises the stakes dramatically.
Yeah.
He has to confront not only his fear of the curse, but also the pain of potentially curing it.
And that climactic moment, Ethan pressing his bleeding palm to the center of the circle, driven by this intense cocktail of terror, hope, and a desperate longing for normalcy. It's a really powerful image of vulnerability and raw emotion.
It's a point where all his anxieties and desires converge.
Yeah.
It's a gamble with his very being. The sheer desperation of that act, the willingness to inflict pain on himself for the chance of being normal again, is what makes that moment so impactful.
And the resolution is fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
Waking up cured, but with this lingering sensory detail of tasting copper instead of gold.
Interesting.
And finding that fragment of the shattered circle shimmering with the colors of ordinary glass. It's not a complete return to the way things were, but something new.
The subtle sensory detail of the copper taste serves as a reminder of his ordeal, a lingering echo of what he went through. And that fragment of ordinary glass imbued with a shimmer suggests that while the curse is broken, something has fundamentally changed. It's not a clean reset, but a transformation that leaves its mark.
So when you look at Transmutation's curse as a whole, what are the key insights that stand out for you?
For me, this flash fiction story really delves into the profound fear of the unknown and the isolating burden of possessing a power that others cannot understand and therefore fear. But it also offers a glimmer of hope, suggesting that even in the face of radical change, there's a possibility of finding a new equilibrium, even if it's not a return to the past.
Yeah.
Ethan's journey isn't about becoming who he was, but about finding a way to exist in a world altered by his experience.
It's about navigating the aftermath of the extraordinary and finding a new version of normal story.
Okay, let's shift our wizarding probe now to the Diviner's Pact.
Okay.
This flash fiction story immediately pulls you in with its emotional core, doesn't it? Sasha's desperate love for their dying brother Noah.
Absolutely. The story immediately establishes a powerful emotional anchor in that bond between siblings and the desperate desire to prevent loss.
Right.
The clinical setting of the hospital starkly highlights the feeling of helplessness and the bleakness of their situation.
And then Sasha's unexpected ability for divination emerges.
Something they weren't even supposed to be particularly good at.
Yeah.
It's a real twist, this latent talent suddenly becoming crucial in this moment of crisis.
That sudden emergence of a hidden ability adds a layer of dramatic irony.
Yeah.
The very skill Sasha doubted becomes their only potential lifeline.
Right.
Suggesting that extraordinary circumstances can often reveal untapped potential within us.
Then the arrival of the entity described in such evocative terms,
Okay.
ancient and vast, communicating telepathically and demanding a life for a life.
Yeah.
It tacks into that classic archetype of a powerful, otherworldly being offering a dangerous bargain.
The entity's description creates a sense of immense power and timelessness.
Right.
The demand for a life immediately introduces the central conflict and the weighty moral choice Sasha faces.
Yeah.
It speaks to the idea of cosmic balance and the potential cost of interfering with natural processes.
And Sasha's impulsive offer of anything, and the entity's acceptance of their gift of foresight in exchange for Noah's health.
Right.
On the surface, it seems like a straightforward trade.
But you know instinctively that there will be unforeseen and significant consequences.
The apparent simplicity of the exchange is deceptive.
Yeah.
While Sasha acts out of pure love and desperation, the loss of their foresight has ramifications that extend far beyond their immediate understanding. It's a stark reminder that even well-intentioned bargains can have unforeseen costs.
The immediate aftermath is so striking, isn't it?
Yeah.
Noah's miraculous recovery set against Sasha's world going gray, a visual representation of the complete loss of their divinatory abilities.
Oh.
It's a very direct and palpable price to pay.
That stark contrast vividly illustrates the cost of the pact.
Right.
Noah's restored health is bought with the literal dimming of Sasha's world, symbolizing not just the loss of a skill, but perhaps a fundamental shift in their perception and experience of reality.
And the consequences of that lost foresight are heavy. Sasha can no longer perform readings, and they carry this immense guilt of being unable to prevent future tragedies they would have otherwise seen coming, like the Baker Street fire.
It's a constant burden of what could have been.
This is where the true weight of the bargain becomes apparent.
Yeah.
It's not just about the personal loss of an ability.
Right.
It's about the inability to help others and the constant awareness of potential suffering that they are now powerless to foresee or prevent.
But even without their foresight during the Baker Street fire, Sasha acts on this lingering sense of dread and risks their own life to save a child. It shows that their inherent goodness and bravery aren't tied to their magical abilities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Despite the loss of their foresight, Sasha's inherent compassion and heroism endure.
Right.
Their selfless act demonstrates that their character is not solely defined by their divinatory talent, and it highlights the internal conflict created by the pact, a desire to help despite the cost.
Then the entity returns, and the pact is deemed broken because Sasha acted despite their lack of foresight. But instead of taking Sasha's life, the entity grants them this new, overwhelming ability to see all of it, all possible futures, both good and bad.
Okay.
A sweeter curse, as the entity calls it.
This is a truly fascinating twist.
Yeah. Yeah.
The entity's revised curse is arguably a far greater burden than the simple loss of foresight.
Right.
To be constantly aware of every potential future, both the beautiful and the horrific, would be an incredibly overwhelming, potentially paralyzing experience.
So what are the key thematic takeaways from the Diviner's Pact for you?
This flash fiction story powerfully explores the themes of sacrifice, the profound and often unpredictable consequences of trying to alter fate, and the complex nature of bargains, even those made out of love.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it suggests that even painful knowledge can hold value when it fuels our compassion and our desire to protect others. Sasha's final acceptance of this overwhelming new reality for the sake of their brother and others speaks to the power of love and responsibility.
So both of these flash fiction stories, while taking place in wildly different magical settings, one with accidental elemental transmutation, the other with a deliberate pact for foresight, share these really compelling threads about the extraordinary disrupting the ordinary and the profound choices individuals make when faced with impossible circumstances.
Absolutely. Despite the fantastical elements, both narratives ground themselves in very relatable human experiences.
Right.
The sudden disruption of normalcy, the weight of responsibility, and the enduring power of human connection in the face of the unbelievable.
Think about Ethan's sudden, uncontrollable power. What would it truly be like to have a force like that erupt within you?
Yeah.
To be feared and isolated for something you didn't choose?
Right.
How would you navigate a world that suddenly sees you as a threat?
Yeah.
And what does it really mean to find a way forward when your definition of normal has been shattered?
And consider Sasha's sacrifice. What lengths would you go to for someone you love?
Right.
Does the ability to know the future come with an inherent moral obligation?
Yeah.
And what are the ethical boundaries when it comes to altering destiny, even with the noblest intentions? The entity's final gift to Sasha, this constant awareness of all possibilities, raises a profound question.
Yeah.
Can one truly live with such an overwhelming influx of potential realities?
These brief but powerful tales really give us a lot to think about.
Right.
We hope this wizarding praned into Transmutation's Curse and the Diviner's Pact has sparked your imagination and maybe even inspired you to seek out the full flash fiction stories.
Indeed. These narratives demonstrate the incredible capacity of short-form storytelling to explore complex themes and evoke deep emotional responses even within fantastical settings.
What resonated most with you in these wizarding probes? What other wild flash fiction stories have you encountered that we should delve into?
Yeah.
Share your thoughts. We're always eager to explore further into these fantastical worlds. Rate and follow, you son of a witch, for more thrilling wizarding probes next week.